share.
All right, we should be good to go.
All right, thank you. Well, this is the February 19th, 2026 meeting of the Human Resources Agenda or Committee. Let's start by observing a moment of silence. Thank you. And I guess we should next wish best of luck to the U.S. women's hockey team if that game's not.
It's over.
Well, hopefully it went well.
It went well.
All right. Next item on the agenda is approval of the November 13th, 2025 minutes. Can I entertain a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I think that was all of us. All right. It's unanimous. We have no old business today, so let's move on to new business. Who's going to take that?
I will take that.
All right.
Give me just a second to share. Okay. So guys, just wanted to stop and take a minute and kind of walk you through a little bit about what's happening here with the HR team. We have gone through a lot of changes in the past 6 months. And up until now, the presentations that we showed with your predecessors were basically the same presentations that had been offered from HR for the past 5 or 6 years. We're going to change it up a little bit this time and continue to change it up a little bit throughout the rest of 2026, because one of our big goals during 2026 is to find valuable, meaningful metrics and measurements that we can share with you. So one of the things I did notice coming on board was that a lot of what was shared was only about employment. So for those of you that have maybe been on this committee before, you might see things looking a little bit different today, but we're just going to jump right in and kind of start sharing some new stuff. I want to start with our HR org chart. And please note that we have divided up into what we refer to in HR as pods. We have a team now dedicated to employee relations and employee development, handling training, performance management, which is new for the city, and employee relations and employee recognition. We have another team dedicated to talent acquisition and onboarding. We have a team dedicated to efficiency, effectiveness, and operations, which is our HRIS compensation and knowledge management group, which is a new group. Most of those roles are new for the city. And then we have a team dedicated to benefits and wellness. And it's taken us pretty much the whole time I've been here, the whole 7 months, to build this out. So we're excited to share this piece today. And that leads me into our next process, which is where each manager will present the metrics for their group. So first, I'd like to introduce you to Lindsay. Lindsay's in charge of talent acquisition and onboarding. And Lindsay, you can just tell me when to push the slide because we're doing this virtually. So I'm going to start and you just tell me when you're ready to push the next one, okay? Lindsay, are you there?
Lindsay, if you're trying to speak, you're on mute.
On the call?
She's on, right?
I was gonna say, did she drop off? Or?
I see Lindsay Muzzle on her camera and her microphone.
Oh.
Okay, well, while we're waiting on Lindsay, Lindsay, interrupt me if at any point in time you can speak. I'll just kind of share with you. These are some of the traditional numbers that we've shared in the past, looking at our Q4 turnover. As you can see, red represents fire, blue is police, and green is non-sworn. And if you look at our turnover since 2022, you can see a pretty strong decrease in the fire turnover. Police turnover looks like we kind of went back up a little bit in 2025 on the police side, and for non-sworn, 3.21% in Q4. So what you're doing is you're looking at the comparisons quarter over quarter, right? So this is comparing us to prior fourth quarters, and that's our current turnover situation in the city, which numbers are looking really good overall. And guys, please feel free to stop me if you have any questions.
And Lindsay did state that her mic isn't working, so we'll just keep going.
Okay, all right. So
Lindsay's mic isn't working, so she won't be speaking today.
So then if you look at 2025, our turnover for 2025 as a whole, now that we finished up the year, as you can see, COVID did some really weird things to us, right? But if you ignore that 2021 timeframe, we're looking really good on all of our turnover numbers, steadily overall in a much better place than where we were a couple years ago. We got the highest turnover being in the non-sworn category at 12.35%. Standard turnover, if you're below 15%, typically you're doing pretty good. That's the way the industry looks at turnover.
Hey, mind if I jump in? Would you prefer to sort of get through this, or do you want to entertain some questions while you're going through it?
Well, I hear Lindsay now, so I say feel free, ask us some questions.
Sorry. I'll just quickly recognize Councilmember Gregg, and then we'll come back to Lindsay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the turnover rate, what would you expect, or what's a sort of an expected turnover rate for a municipality like ours in these departments? Are we doing better than other municipalities, worse in this department? I guess that would kind of give us an indication of where we stand competitively in trying to hire municipal employees, correct?
Right. So what we were saying was standard, nationwide turnover, 15%, pretty much a number that people, if you start seeing 15%, you really start to worry, like, hey, we need to do something. Between 10 and 12% is considered good. Police and fire, those numbers, I mean, you look at some police departments and you see turnover rates of 50%. And you look at a few and you might see a turnover rate of 5%. It really depends on the city and, where you are. During the 2021-22 era, the COVID era, where you saw a ton of turnover in police and fire, our numbers still look great compared to what was happening nationally. But it's always much harder to lose a police and fire employee because it takes so long to train them to get them back up to speed, up and running the way you would with, another type of employee. So we do like to see those numbers lower. So that's a really good sign for us.
Okay, thanks.
We will make a note on the next presentation to bring you some national turnover numbers so that you can kind of see a little bit more about like what that looks like.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Will you hear me? My voice is kind of not here, but I'll try. So we're looking at the 4 sworn staffing levels. Tammy, you may have to talk for me. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll talk for Lindsay. She can answer questions. Okay, so the fire department sworn staffing, we're at 98% right now, which is amazing. Police department's at 92%. I talked to the police the other day, and they're getting ready to bring in another big class, so we should see that number drop up to about 98%. But because a lot of times they will bring employees in big groups, you'll see that number start to drop down closer to the 90th percentile. And then you'll see them bringing a big class all at one time. And we just, graduated, as y'all know, like 40 plus new firefighters. So that number is going to sit pretty high for a little while. And then attrition will happen and you'll see another class come in the fall. So those numbers are great.
Councilmember Tickler, you have a question? You're on mute.
Sorry about that. Thank you. Do we have any idea what would have led to sort of that tick up in turnover for the police department, or is it retirements or?
Are we talking about on the prior slide or this slide?
I saw on the prior slide, and now that, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Okay, so it looks like possibly what happened in here, and we can definitely follow up on this one too, is that we might not have done a class in 2024. And why, let's see, 2023, we had a turnover here of about 10%, and then we had a dip in 2024, and now we're back up to our standard. So we're averaging about 10% in the fire department over the past many, many years. But for some reason, we had a pretty large dip in 2024. And that I think I could try to find out for you is what we can attribute that dip to, why it went so low last year.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll add that to our follow-up list as well. And then we showed the staffing levels right now. And then this is just our vacancy rates. Please remember when you're looking at this at a small department, HR, for example, 10% turnover could be one person, right? So some of these numbers, when you're talking about small departments, aren't as relevant. For example, clerk of council, that 13% is probably one person. So really what you want to look for is any major changes in turnover, any large numbers in these small departments. But as you can see, our big departments, we saw a decrease in quite a few of our big departments in turnover, and our larger departments being like public service, planning and preservation.
And historically speaking on this one, I've noticed that the city tends to run, we were running pretty high per quarter as far as the vacancy rates. Some of the departments would run about 30%. So it's definitely, whenever I look at this table, I always look to see that we're kind of at that 30 or really below that 30% mark. I know that we're doing pretty well.
Oh, any questions about employment before we move on to employee relations and employee development? Okay. All right. So I'm not Lee, but I'm going to speak on Lee's behalf today. He's on vacation. So Lee's team, what they did last quarter, we offered our first ever local government advanced supervisory training. We put 7 supervisors through an intensive 6-day training course. We partnered that training with the Riley Center and offered that to 7 of our supervisors last quarter. We also had 13 employee relations investigations and 14 involuntary terminations last quarter.
Sorry, I guess I should just recognize myself. Is 14 seems like a high number.
It does. I've noticed the past 3, and these are numbers that we've never showed before, so you don't really have a history or a trend on this because this is some of the new stuff that we just added. So when you look at 14, if you look back over the 2 quarters that I've been here, quarter 3 and quarter 4 of last year, it's running about that each quarter. My gut says we will continue to run between 10 and 15 a quarter. And that is a lot of terminations. The city has a 0 tolerance drug testing policy that affects a lot of those terminations. And we also have a lot of supervisors who have done a really good job of starting to bring forward to us issues or concerns that they have where the performance isn't where it needs to be. And this team does a very good job of trying to first develop employees to be able to perform, but if they are not able to perform, to help manage them out into other opportunities for them somewhere else. So this is a big part of this team's role. Try to rehabilitate, try to get things up and running, but if not, work toward moving in this direction.
Got it. Thank you.
But I think, and I I might be wrong. I think we're going to see that number stay above 10 every quarter based on some of the stuff that's come through the office and some of the things that some of our employees choose to do while they're working at the city.
Liz, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, thanks. I just was going to kind of highlight what Tammy just said, which is that we have a one strike, zero tolerance rule for our drug policy. A lot of other jurisdictions, and I've talked to Tammy about this, have an opportunity for folks to get help and then return to the city for employment or to where they're employed. I think that's something that we should look into at some point, just because it's pretty harsh. And it's the way it's resulted in a lot of these involuntary terminations. I don't know what the percentage is, but it's very high. It's probably 80%, I would say, based on what I know. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Tammy, but I do think that's something that we should look into. But would love y'all's feedback.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine, in addition to it being, having a harsh consequence for the person who is being terminated, there might be a little bit of shooting ourselves in the foot on that. If, it's somebody just, going through a tough time, or, many other explanations that I don't think the public would necessarily expect would result in termination. The accountability part that we talked about was great. I mean, it's terrible when you have to terminate anybody. Nobody ever wants to be in that situation, but sometimes it's got to be done. But we just need to make sure that our policies are aligned, I think, with what's in the best interest of the city.
Yeah, and we've lost some good folks because of this policy. And so I think that because of that, we really need to reevaluate and figure out where we want to go from here on out.
And we do have that on our review list for next quarter. So
Okay.
We're looking into that.
Councilmember Tingler?
Is that a policy that a previous council had put into place, or is that something that you were?
Being new, I'm not really sure where the history is on that. I do know that quite a few other agencies don't have zero tolerance. They have a process where you can get help and then be allowed to come back. Having worked at quite a few places that have that kind of process, let's just say on average, the numbers usually look like if 10 people would fail a drug test, 5 of them would be requested to go through some sort of program to be able to come back to work. And usually about half of those would choose to go ahead and leave, and the other half would actually go through the program and try to get back to work with us. So it's an effective program if you're not zero tolerance, but we would just have to change what Charleston has basically always done and look at things a little bit differently.
Yeah, I would expect there's some difference between positions. I would think insurance would require that some positions are completely drug-free and sort of have zero tolerance.
Right. Well, there are different rules for CDLs and safety sensitive positions. So we would, we'd have to follow that as well. So, but right now it's zero tolerance. So this is where we've been, but we are actively looking to see whether or not this is something we could change and would be a positive change for the city. Okay. Just a little bit about this inaugural local government advanced supervisory training that we did last quarter. One of the big pushes of this team in HR is more training for our supervisors and managers and for our employees. We ran 7 through. We did it in partnership with the Riley Center, like I mentioned. These were the key topics that we went over, and that was in September of 25. And we've started our second group going through right now. We have 10 different supervisors going through this program. So we think it's extremely valuable program, and we're excited to be able to offer it. This is the first time to my knowledge, the first time anything like this has been done at the city in quite a few years. So we're excited to bring this back. Okay. Next, we have benefits and wellness, and our benefits and wellness manager, April, is going to speak.
Good afternoon. So first, let me say, I think this might be the first time that benefits and wellness has really been part of this presentation. So some of the things that we have on here, over time, it will evolve, and we will have what we consider more meaningful or really great metrics to be able to show you how we're supporting our employees through benefits and wellness. Our benefits and wellness, we do feel like, is primarily to take care of the employee, to make sure there's a good work-life balance, and to make sure that they feel supported in their job roles. The other part of that is to support retention and recruitment, to make sure that we're keeping people and that we're finding the best qualified people because of the programs and benefits that we offer. So one of the things that we have started looking at is our mental health and physical health items. So this year we launched our Calm Health app. And this is an app that's designed to support mental health. It's free to employees. So we are going to start tracking registered usage. Of course, it's just numbers, no data, it's aggregate information, but it does give us a picture of employee usage and how they are responding to mental health needs. The other information, the other piece that we are going to be tracking is our MD Live app usage. MD Live is a virtual telehealth service that we have through Cigna that provides dermatology, primary care, urgent care, and mental health services to employees. This year, we have dropped the copay for this to $10 to encourage use of this so that employees feel like they have a resource, they have health care when they need it, and it's convenient for them. And we hope to encourage use because of those items. That's also good for the city if we can maybe prevent people from utilizing services like ER visits or urgent care visits when it's not necessary. Those are expensive when it's not something that is an urgent need. So we're hoping to give them another resource to use that they can get help and we can help support them. Another feature that we are we're proud of this one in particular because one of the challenges that we have is that technology for some of our employees is less used than by other members of our teams. So some people really love technology and some people don't. So we're trying to make sure that we are providing resources, education, communication, and help so that people can utilize technology, can learn about it, and see what all's out there. The Cigna app and Cigna coverage has a great deal of resource for our employees. So we want to make sure that we give them the tools to access that and to understand what's available to them. We feel like that's important part of their benefits package is to know all of the different things that they have access to. So this number in particular, we look at is the My Cigna registration number, and this is what percentage of our employees have registered on the My Cigna app. So at this point, we're at 89%, which is great. And we get feedback from Cigna frequently that that is a super high number. Typically, people are about 75%, and that's with much longer years of service. So ours is 2 years in, and we're at 89%. MD Live registrations by quarter, just to go back to that, this is something that we're going to track just because we want to see how the usage, if people are utilizing this, and to make sure that they know they have access to this. So right now, we're seeing a jump. We really started communicating this and marketing this at the end of last year. Just in a more intentional way. And we did see the registrations go up from 28 to 59 in just that one quarter. So we feel like with communication and education, we can we can encourage people to utilize this service. We feel like it's a very good alternative for people, especially traffic wise, getting places, not having to take full days off to get to a primary care or a urgent care appointment. We just feel like it's a really good fit for some of the conditions that maybe we have with our team members in our area. So we're going to track this one.
Okay. Any questions for April about benefits and wellness? Okay, if not, then we're going to turn it over to Jennifer, who's in charge of efficiency, effectiveness, and operations.
All right, so first, we're going to kind of focus more on the system that we deployed back in, I guess it was 2024. So that was September 2024. We started and went live with Workday. In the system, there's something called PEX, which is people experience, and it's a place where employees could utilize to basically open up a ticket in regards to anything that they have an issue with the system, how to do something. If they can't find it within any of the knowledge-based articles that we have in the system, they can open this ticket. It does go to my team, and then a team in finance and payroll, and then also a team in IT. So this is an all-encompassing number. This isn't necessarily just HR, but in Q4, we had a total of 67 tickets within Workday. Usually those tickets in PEX are going to be more of your like tier 1, very lower level tiered issues in the system, something that any one of us who've helped build the system can go and help a user. Now, we have something called CVS. That is a vendor that we have contracted. It's in connection with Workday. They are consultants and experts in the system, very focused on specific areas. So it might be different components in HR, different components in payroll, finance, things like that. We have that ticketing system for more of reconfigurations of the system. So if something's a bigger issue is going to need some support outside of our skill set and team, we will open up a ticket and correlate with them or collaborate with them. And in Q4, we did a total of 286 hours. And again, that's total citywide. That's not just HR, but I felt like it, that's something that we wanted to kind of start looking at. So going back to the PEX tickets and breaking that down a little bit, this kind of shows each quarter in 2025. So keep in mind, that's, 3-4 months in that we had just gone live. So Q1, you see a total of 223. We went down to 165 in Q2, and you can kind of see that decline. So in Q4, we had a total of 67 tickets. So that's what you would really expect in a system with tickets. Obviously, it's going to be very high in the beginning, and then you're going to see that slow decline throughout the year. So for this one, this is Q4 tickets by type. So as I mentioned, the totals that we kind of brought in here are citywide. So this just kind of gives you a breakdown of what areas the majority of the tickets are coming in for PEX. And as you see, time entry and payroll had about 24 tickets. Benefits, general, recruitment, some of the leave, some of the security, HR confidential, configuration changes are all going to be HR related. And then Q4 CVS hours, this is more of a breakdown of that total that was given on the previous slide. Again, the total was like 286 hours, but again, that's citywide that we used. And so as you see here, this is the breakdown. HCM is really HR, and we used 163 hours. I know that seems extreme compared to kind of what everyone else is doing, but we did do a lot of changes in the system in regards to compensation study. We're starting to build performance management in the system. So different components and really kind of getting in that stabilization mode.
Okay, any questions for Jennifer? Okay, then we're going to do a quick recap of what we did in Q4 last year. We completed open enrollment with 95% participation in Workday. On the benefit side, that's amazing because that's that many of our employees are going through Workday to complete their open enrollment, which is a great number. We also had record attendance at our health fair, and we had record biometric screenings. Big push for us this year is going to continue to try to get people into those biometric screenings so that they know their numbers. Because if you know your numbers, you know where you need to work to start trying to stay healthier. As we said, the first advanced supervisor class graduated. We also started an executive leadership training program once a quarter with our executive leadership team at the city. And we finalized the JAQ. And the JAQ is the job analysis questionnaire. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit in the next slide, because that job analysis questionnaire is part of our citywide complete revamp of our job descriptions at the city. So that's what we did in Q4. What we're doing right now, I'm happy to say that we have paid out in this quarter, we have paid out the 3% COLA. We are developing the new performance review process for this year. So it'll be the city's first performance review process. And we just finished finalizing the data entry for the new market-based grades and moving employees to the minimums of the new grades. So if you step back and look at the comp study that's kind of been going on for, I'm going to say about a year and a half. The first thing, two different pieces of that. One was, let's get the job descriptions right. And we're about 95% done with that. To include input on every job description from each employee, their supervisor, and their executive team. So we actively have made progress in the job description process. And then the second piece was with the comp study, phase 1, moving employees in, deciding what our new grades are, getting those grades loaded into the system, moving employees into those grades, and then making sure if they were below the minimum of the new grade, that they moved up to the minimum of that new grade. So this has been a major lift for the HR department over the past 3 months, and we are very excited to say that those are done. And then just kind of a look into what you can expect to see next quarter. The finalizing of that job descriptions with the vendor, we're almost at the end here. We should see that wrapping up very soon. Start training. We have 300 supervisors to put through performance management training before they actually start doing their first performance reviews, citywide performance reviews. So that's a big lift. It's a day-long training for 300 supervisors that is coming in March and April. We're actively working on disseminating the city's new mission, vision, and values in all kinds of unique and different ways, and sharing that, and really starting to, get some focus on what it is the executive team developed there. We are implementing the benefits and wellness strategic plan, so you'll start seeing more benefits and wellness changes coming your way as far as how can we help make employees healthier and at the same time save the city money on our benefits plan. And then lastly, another big focus right now is just this optimization of Workday. We've spent the past year and a half in a stabilization mode, and you saw those numbers start going down that Jennifer was showing you. Okay, so now that we're more stabilized, those numbers start to go down. Now, how do we really optimize this very amazing software that the city has bought? How do we start to really optimize that?
Councilmember Brady.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just had a quick question. I ran into a city of Charleston police officer the other day, and he had a question about the health plan, and I was trying to figure out how to kind of direct him, but he had a question about how do folks go about using the health plan to use like Zepbound and Manjaro and that type of thing to lose weight, because obviously we used to do it, but it's become more complicated. And so I just want to be able to give him and other folks in the city that ask, that live in my neighborhood and that type of thing, What's the proper process for that?
So what we would ask is that, well, first of all, if they need any help at all, they can completely contact April. She will start heading them in the right direction on what our different options are. The city no longer covers GLP-1s for weight loss. It's still covered for diabetes, but it's not for weight loss. So we have a lot of other programs that we put in place to help employees that are not GLP-1 related. And I don't know who all was on those calls last year where we made that tough decision to make that change. The sheer cost of those medicines was over $1 million for non-diabetic employees, and we had to make a tough call last year and stop covering that. But we do have programs in place where if they were on that medicine, we can put them through all these different programs that April set up to help them continue to try to lose weight and manage their weight.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any other questions today?
Doesn't look like it. I'll just say for myself that that was the best. I don't know how long I've been on HR committee, but that was the best report that I've seen to get a sense of what's been happening, but also what is to come. And just appreciate everybody's work to
Mr. Chairman, may I ask our HR team? So did we completely eliminate, even if there are contributing factors that would require the GLP-1s? Is that so? We're not paying for it at all. Just so I can tell this police officer.
If they're diabetic, it's covered. If they're not diabetic, it's not covered. However, we do have options for them to help them. And there's a lot of new things on the market that we're watching very closely with the pills that are coming out and the other things that are happening. We are actively engaged in trying to find new ways, but please let them know to contact April. She's helped a lot of people that were taking those medicines find other options on how to continue their weight loss journey.
All right, thank you.
All right. But again, just I'm excited for where this department is going, and I think it's safe to say that as this department goes, so goes the city. So looking forward to seeing progress on some of the things that y'all have said. I will say for myself, the one thing that I would love to know more about, and this may be something that need to discuss with the mayor and may need to come to council, but I think the big thing that's on every employee's mind in America is AI. I know it's become a very big part of my workday. It's causing me the same anxiety it's causing everybody else. So maybe in the future, if we could get kind of an update on where the city is on AI usage and adaptation. That I think that'd be kind of helpful for us looking at it from a much higher level than y'all are.
So I hear what you're saying about AI, and I think that would be an excellent opportunity for HR to partner with IT now that we have an AI policy, and start maybe trying to get some training out there to help people to see what good it can do and what bad it can do, right? Because it can do a lot of good, but it can also do a lot of bad. And so sharing that information, I love that idea. I think we can definitely work that into our training group.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And it looks like I will recognize Councilmember Scarden.
Yeah. Hey guys, thank you.
Hi.
One question for you all in our next meeting. Would it be possible to get an overview of the city's paid family leave policies and any related childcare support that the city offers or has considered offering in the past? And if there's been any comparison done to other municipalities, not only locally, but I would say, other best-in-class cities across the country, since I know that benefits are such an important part of that recruitment and retention of staff.
So it's a very timely ask. We have been, for the past 6 months, we have been laying out, I would say 5 months, we have been laying out and very carefully updating our We call it Project Stork. We have been updating our policy, trying to make things a little bit cleaner, easier to understand. We have a whole booklet that we're almost ready to publish, where it's going through QC right now. And so we should be done with that in the next 2 or 3 weeks and ready to publish that book. So we'd be happy to, send it over when we're done. And it really does talk through the leave process, specifically with a lot surrounding our parental leave policy and how parental leave interacts with regular leave, interacts with disability, interacts with FMLA. There's so many layers to this that we're actively working to try to clean it up and provide a better guide for our employees. So we should be able to pull that together for you pretty quick.
Great, thank you.
Councilmember Gregg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hey, Mr. Barry, we talked last year about how we might be able to reduce healthcare costs, and we had some thoughts on direct contracting, and I continue to have issues with Cigna and MUSC, even for basic, going for a primary care visit every year is becoming more and more challenging. That things that are supposed to be covered aren't being covered because MUSC seems to be more interested in billing patients and our employees as much as humanly possible rather than serving the patient. Have we progressed those discussions any further? And is that something we could maybe start talking about?
We actually have. We have been meeting with our broker and a couple vendors. We've been through 10 vendor demos in the past month. We've also we also have budget included in on this process. They've been in a lot of the meetings with us to try to look at what we can actually do this year, what we can afford to do, what we're able to move forward with. And we moved forward with a list of about 50 items, which I think I shared at least 25 of those with you in that letter from a while ago. We had a list of probably closer to 40 items. We've narrowed it down to our top 12 right now. Okay. So we have a list of things that we've already done, which is about 10, and the next list of about 12 things that we think we can accomplish this year. And so that's when we talked about that we were going to move forward with the benefits and wellness strategy on that last slide. That's what that is. It is taking that wish list of all the things we want to do and boiling it down to what can we actually accomplish this year and how we're going to see some changes. I can give you a hint at one if you want.
Sure.
I'll give you a heads up because this has not gone through any approval processes, but one I think that we're feeling pretty strongly about right now. We're very excited about one of the biggest cost drivers at the city is MSK, musculoskeletal.
Okay.
It's a big cost driver for us. So we have
X-rays and MRIs and stuff like that, I assume.
No, MSK, like back problems, ankle hurts, okay. Like my elbow is not working the way it's supposed to. Anything kind of musculoskeletal. Okay. A lot of PT in that, a lot of surgery in that. A lot of people would argue a lot of unnecessary surgery in that. So things that PT could solve if we could get people to PT, but you can't often get people to PT. So we've watched a couple vendor demos, and we're very excited about some online PT programs. So remember, I think when we talked about how a lot of PT programs, you might go there and it's like if you go to the hospital, your first hour of PT is $500. Right. Right. At a hospital where the programs that we're looking at that we evaluated, they will put you through an entire PT program, however long it takes you to get better, for less than $1,000.
Wonderful.
And it's done online through an iPad, through a virtual PT therapist. So there are ways that we can save money on this stuff. And not only can we save money, but we all know that when people go to PT, that we oftentimes don't go home and do the exercises they tell us to do. Right? So you can't get better if you're not doing those exercises. So these programs actually monitor and make sure you're doing the exercises because you're doing it with the computer and it's checking to make sure you're doing it right and you're doing what you're supposed to do. So we're kind of excited a lot about all this new technology and the things that it can bring. Somebody might not can take a half a day off work to go to a PT appointment, drive there, get there, but they can do this virtual process, at night for 45 minutes with the computer. So we're excited about quite a few of these, and that is part of that strategic plan. And if you guys are ready to hear about it, we're ready to share it.
Yeah, maybe next month I would like to hear more about it. So thank you.
Okay. Okay.
That sounds great. I clocked the ankle injury part of that, but Councilmember Brady, do you have another question, or was your hand just up from earlier?
I do, yeah. No, and it's actually not a question. I just wanted to expound on Councilmember Scarden's about the parental leave. We actually came out ahead of the state, just so we're clear on that. Before even the state did parental leave, because of the Council on Women, as I know Councilmember Scarden knows, that was one of the things that they bubbled up to city council, and we were actually one of the first municipalities in the state to offer paid parental leave. So that's something that we've been leading on, and I look forward to us leading on that some more. So thank you for bringing that up, Councilmember Scarden.
Yes, thank you.
That's great. And I'm glad to see that we're leading on that, because when I worked for another government in this area, they told me that parental leave was for the mother. So hopefully we're not setting ourselves up for that sort of lawsuit around here. I imagine that we're not.
We are not.
Anybody else want to jump in with anything? All right. Well, thanks everybody for that great presentation and everybody's questions. I think we'll stand adjourned by acclamation.